Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain For You. It's Saturday morning, just figured I'd get out here. Feels like it's gonna rain. Feeling a couple of little drops. Hopefully it lasts or holds off until I get done with this. Happy Sunday. So today's topic is gonna be understanding pain. So before I get into that, take a couple of nice deep breaths. You hear that train off in the distance? In my community there's a sightseeing train, and particularly around the holidays they go up and down the tracks, go up about 10 miles, just back to the station. So that's what the train is. So take a couple of breaths. Breathe in something positive that you want. Breathe in the peace. Exhale the stress. Breathe in the confidence. Exhale the doubt. Breathe in the well-being that's inside of all of us. Exhale the feeling of being ill or broken. So, understanding pain. This is kind of foundational. Pain is here to serve a purpose. It is here to protect us. You smash your hand with a hammer, you're supposed to hurt so you don't do it again, right? The pain is supposed to warn us that something damaging is happening to our body. That happens. Animals in nature, human beings, most living creatures, if they experience some type of damage to their body or their organism, they recoil with some element of pain. And that's by design. We're supposed to do that. So, the severity of the pain is based on not the amount of damage, but the brain's perception of the amount of danger. And so, you've heard me talk about it. You touch the hot stove, your brain goes, "Hey, get off of that!" Within a second. You feel the searing hot pain. Then you look at your hand and go, "Oh, good, I'm not burnt." And what happens? Just like that, the pain's gone. So the brain interprets danger and turns pain on or off as necessary to protect you or stop you from doing something dangerous, like holding your hand on a hot stove. That's pretty simple, right? You break your arm, you fall out of a tree. It's gonna hurt because you heard the crack and your arm's floppy and you broke something. It's supposed to hurt. Why? So you don't keep on flopping it around. So you hold it tight against your body, wrap it up, and then get to the doctor, right? It's supposed to hurt. And that's normal pain, normal injuries, normal damage. If you have surgery, you are going to hurt because your brain registers, you just got cut open. You just had something done. Yes, it's going to hurt. That stuff is normal. Now, in this mind-body world, Dr. Sarno theorized that the pain comes about to protect us from something the brain perceives as dangerous. And in the case of Dr. Sarno's theories, it's this overwhelming, scary, dangerous set of emotions. And in some cases, emotions that don't fit with your self-image. And so when those emotions start getting ready to burst into consciousness and kind of explode into consciousness, maybe cause you to blow up at some family members that you really know you shouldn't be blowing up at, sometimes this overwhelming set of emotions can unload into the body and we can get some type of symptoms. And I'll say symptoms because it's not just pain. Today's topic is about pain, but there are other symptoms as well. So don't feel left out if you've got, other types of things, weakness, numbness, stuff like that. It's all still the same stuff, but we're going to stay focused on pain today. So, as it relates to this mind-body syndrome, I'm asking you to actually do something that's counterintuitive and against nature, because by design, pain is supposed to get your attention. Hey, stop that. What are you doing? Right? Perception of danger always is what keeps things going. So if you've got this mind-body syndrome, if you've got this belief system that I've got a bad back, every time you bend over, oh, that hurt. Oof. Right? If you have a belief system that getting off the couch is going to hurt, that's dangerous, what do you think is going to happen every time you get off the couch? Your brain's going to go, oh, here's the pain. Right? For me, for over a decade, even though I knew about Sarno, I kept going, oh, I got a bad back, got a bad back. And I fell into that trap of using language against myself, right? People wonder why it took me so darn long to get better, because I made every mistake in the book. I literally convinced my own brain that I got a bad back, so every single time I would bend over to pick up something heavy, oh, that would hurt. And I would expect it, my brain expected it, and therefore it happened virtually every time. And so, the brain's just trying to protect us by using pain from doing things that it has perceived as dangerous. And again, the initial emotions. So some cases, especially once you've learned a little bit about TMS and stress, you can say, stress is dangerous. So anytime I got stressed, here comes the pain. The brain is just utilizing the pain to try to get you to, hey, stop that stressful stuff. Avoid that. And then we start to identify triggers. Well, I got in a fight with so-and-so and my pain went up, so I can't have that fight anymore. I got really angry and my pain went up, so I can't have that anger anymore. And then we identify all these different triggers, and then we start trying to avoid. Before you know it, our life is this big. We shrink our life, we try to avoid all the triggers. And here's the point. The goal is not to avoid anything that the brain incorrectly assumes is dangerous. That's not it. Because if we do that, we're never getting out of bed. We're never going to live life. We're never going to do anything. We're never going to interact with another human being again. We're never going to have stress. We're never going to feel any emotions. We're going to numb ourselves out. We're going to become very stoic and I don't feel anything. And that never helped anybody get better either. So, what do we want to do? Instead of trying to eliminate and avoid and list and identify every single possible trigger that's ever made your pain flare up or your symptoms worse, everything that I talk about is not list your triggers and avoid them. Everything I talk about is teach your brain that those things are not dangerous. Because when the brain gets the message that, you know what, bending over is really not dangerous, it doesn't hurt anymore. Right? Getting up off the couch, it's not dangerous. It doesn't hurt anymore. You know, when I was in the throes of my 13 years of pain, if I had tried to sit in a kayak for more than an hour and then get up, I'd be struggling. Oh, God, I can't believe I sat in that position for an hour. Oh, my God, and I would hurt for days. Now, you know, like not this summer because of COVID, but the summer prior to that, I spent a good amount of time at a lake house. And I would spend 8 to 10 hours in a kayak. And I'd get out and I'd feel great, you know? And so it's the brain's perception of danger that really matters. So I saw recently somebody said, oh, Dan, you know, I understand this. I'm trying to not babysit my pain. I'm trying to get out and live life, but sometimes I overdo it and I really pay for it after the fact. Well, it's not the fact that the movement caused you to hurt your body, but perhaps the movement turned on some fear. And the fear that overdoing it might hurt was exactly the little message of danger that the brain needed to go, wait a minute, you moved too much, so here's some pain to make sure you don't do that again today. Right? And I will tell you, if you can go out for a nice walk or do something athletic, ride a bike or you name it, you feel pretty good at the time, but then you hurt later, that's just your brain going, dude, what are you doing that for? Why did you do that? That was too much. You went too far, too fast, whatever. Don't do that again. And here's some pain to make sure. So you can oftentimes, if you scratch your head and go, I don't know why my pain is flaring today. Sometimes, you don't have to, but sometimes you can kind of identify and say, you know, what did my brain possibly perceive as dangerous? Was it a thought about a social engagement that you really don't want to go to because last time you went you felt like an idiot and nobody talked to you? Or You know you've got to have a difficult conversation with your spouse, but you really don't want to because that doesn't go well. You've got these conflicting emotions, and now all of a sudden you're stuffing the emotions, and before you know it, you're all worried about this, and you feel like, I gotta stand up for myself, but that's never going to go well, and before you know it, your pain's flaring. Why? Because the brain perceives all of that stuff you're thinking of doing is dangerous, so here's some pain to make sure you don't do it, to distract you. And the distraction works flawlessly. Because I will tell you, we may have a lot going on in our emotional world, in our social world, our situational world. And once we get looped into this chronic pain stuff, it absolutely gets our attention and holds it. And it can hold it for a long time, 13 years for me. And so, understanding pain. Pain is here to protect us. But it's not always rational, and we might think, well, this is really stupid. What a malfunctioning brain to think that pain is better than just being angry. Well, again, it all goes back to subconscious things that we learned as a kid. We might have seen our parents fighting as kids, and that just planted something into our subconscious. It basically said, anger's dangerous. Look, they're screaming at each other. Oh my God, that scared the crap out of me. You might have only been 3 years old. You don't even remember it happening. But all of a sudden, you got a piece of input into your subconscious that goes, anger's dangerous and scary. And then you may have gotten mad at your brother, and you might have gotten yelled at. Don't get angry at him. We treat each other nice. Or God doesn't like anger. That's not spiritual. We're not supposed to do that. And, oh, why are you crying? I'll give you something to cry about. Or, don't be a big baby. Don't ever let them see you cry. Right? We're taught all of these things, that these negative emotions don't belong in society. They just don't belong. Be nice to everybody. Be kind to everybody. Treat everybody with respect. You hear that from the time you were born through still as you're 80 years old. Somebody gives somebody a hard time and they're told, oh, you're so mean, you're so nasty, you should be nicer. We're taught that these negative emotions are dangerous. And so when they start accumulating and building up, the brain goes, they're dangerous. Purpose of pain. Stop you from doing something dangerous. Stop you from feeling these emotions that are dangerous. Here's some pain. And it works exceedingly well. Then we get sucked into the mainstream medical system. We're told we're broken. We're told they can't find anything. They must be missing something. And before you know it, you're medicalized. All these treatments, they don't work. You just become more and more, you feel more and more like you're broken. And we teach the brain to keep the pain going. Even though, one, the emotional experience that may have triggered it may have already been resolved, but now you become so consumed with your pain in your body that your brain just feels that now these movements are dangerous. And for me, movement was dangerous. Had nothing to do with the real reason that I got into pain in my early 30s. When I was in my early 40s, I was now afraid of moving. And that was the new danger, which kept the pain persisting. And so I'm really not sharing anything new here. This is kind of core foundational stuff. I've covered it before in different videos, but I really just wanted to focus on just understanding pain a little bit better. And when you understand that this pain, this TMS pain, is different from smacking your hand with a hammer pain, clearly the smacking your hand with a hammer pain screams, don't do that, avoid that in the future. Touching the stove, don't do that in the future. That's really bad, you're going to melt your skin. But this TMS pain, once we've identified that, okay, I did not damage my body, and this is this mind-body pain, a distraction pain, a stress-induced type of syndrome here. Once we've identified that it's a pain created in the brain to protect us from some type of stress, tension, emotional world, anger, rage, sadness, grief, whatever, then our response to the pain can take on a different form. Because where we will, ouch, pull our hand off the stove the minute we touch a hot stove, that's a natural reaction. That's important. But once you realize you've ruled out the catastrophic, and you've kind of ruled in this TMS stuff, this mind-body syndrome, as the reason why you're currently hurting, now we can choose a different response. We can choose a more calm and thoughtful response. Instead of freaking out and reacting like that hot stove, we can now go, all right, I'm hurting today. And I know how it started. It's all this TMS, mind-body stuff, emotional distraction stuff. And I know, I've been checked out. There's nothing catastrophic that happened with my body. I might have some normal abnormalities showing up on my imaging studies, but there's nothing catastrophic there. And so I can choose to respond differently. Instead of freaking out as if your hand is burning on a stove, you can say, all right, I'm hurting. And in some cases, trust me, I get it. We're hurting really, really, really bad. But we can still choose our response. Somebody asked me today in a message on YouTube, they says, how can I not care when the pain is so bad? And I've said this over and over again. If indifference doesn't seem available to you in the moment because the pain is so severe, you still want to take a step back and say, choices. Do I freak out? Nope, that's not going to help you feel any better in the moment or long term, because all that does is confirm in the brain that, holy cow, something is majorly wrong. It's just going to confirm that belief that there's something broken. So take a step back from the freak out. And I know indifference is sometimes not available. It's not possible. But in between is that choice. That in between is that choice to go, boy, this is really kicking my butt today. But I know that freaking out's not going to help me. And I do care. And I care enough to calm down, to soothe myself, to breathe through it, right? I don't know, I'm thinking of an analogy like at the dentist. The dentist is not going to be comfortable. You're getting a root canal done. He's putting the needle in you and all that stuff. Well, do you freak out when the needle goes in and it hurts? Ah! No, it's going to make it worse. So what do? You make a choice. You say, okay, this is going to be uncomfortable, but I'm going to choose to breathe through it with your mouth open, as he's got his tools in your mouth and you start doing this stuff. And it's uncomfortable and it's stressful. And I'm not saying any of this to stress out people who have a phobia about dentists, but my point is, dentists are not always comfortable. But we can choose a calm response. And the more of a calm response we have, the easier that kind of process goes. If you keep on jumping out of the chair, it's not going to go too well. It's going to take twice as long. Back to TMS. If the pain is really kicking your butt, and I know it does, and I get it, I spent a lot of years there, we can still choose our response. And I didn't choose my response. I spent a lot of my time just laying on the floor, kind of in my head bitching about the pain. Really not too thrilled, not too happy, complaining, pity parties, and I probably suffered a lot more than I needed to. But I didn't know this stuff back then. So I made the mistakes. I'm trying to shortcut you guys so you don't keep on making them. And look, I know pain is supposed to get your attention, and it really does. But you can still choose your response. You can still choose to soothe yourself. You've seen me do this, right? It's like, all right, Dan, you got this. Boy, it's pretty tough today, but let's not catastrophize. Let's remind ourselves it's just TMS. It's temporary. It's this mind-body syndrome. We know how it started, why it started. Even if we can't identify exactly what, we've connected enough dots to go, yeah, this is what's going on with me, and therefore my body's not broken. I don't have to sweat the fact that something major has happened to me. And I can choose to feel my emotions, breathe, calm my body down, relax my body, calm down my thinking. Don't catastrophize about a future of horrible pain for the rest of your life. I can choose, if I can't get to indifference, I can still choose to reassure myself of that stuff I just did, that it's all just temporary and TMS, and I can choose to shift my attention away from the pain. What do you shift your attention to? In some cases, what am I feeling emotionally? What might have brought this on? Okay, I'm really pissed off about this, or that. Got it. Check in. See if you can connect some dots. And if you can't, don't worry about it. Just know that somehow, some way, the brain perceived danger and says, you need more pain today. Maybe you took a really long walk yesterday and you felt pretty good, and then you sat down on the couch and you said, boy, I hope I didn't overdo that. You know, it felt good, but man, I haven't taken a walk that long in years. I'm probably going to pay for it tomorrow. And guess what? Tomorrow, you hurt. You go, I knew it. No, you just gave instructions to your brain. So it's a learning process. It is a patience process. Each day you're going to learn something new. Each day you're going to observe something different. My goal is to kind of help you notice these things so that you can learn to be less and less freaked out about your symptoms and your pains, so that you can respond more and more calmly and in a very cool, reassuring way for yourself, so that you can teach your brain that this type of pain is not needed. And that doesn't mean that you'll never feel pain again. It just means that if it's TMS, it's this mind-body thing, you don't have to panic and it doesn't have to become chronic. If you touch a hot stove, your nervous system's still going to react normally. It's still going to hurt. And if you burn yourself, it might hurt for a few days until it heals, right? Pain is here to protect us. Nothing more, nothing less. In the case of TMS, the pain is to protect us from our emotional stress-based world. In the case of injury, it's here to protect us, to stop doing something that just damaged our body. And so I hope this makes a little bit more sense. Maybe gives you a little bit of a different angle to view things as it relates to your symptoms, and perhaps how you can respond to it differently. I had somebody say, Dan, it's impossible. Nature has intended for us to react to pain. We're supposed to. It's supposed to get our attention. And you're telling me to be indifferent to it. Yes, I am. Because we know, we have the accurate knowledge that you're not injured. You didn't just cut yourself. You didn't just stab yourself with a knife. You didn't just hit your hand with a hammer. You didn't slam it in a car door. You didn't do all these things that would injure us. You have pain because of your emotional phenomenon, your emotional life, your stress-based, tension-based life, your self-judgment, your self-loathing. We have pain for all those sorts of reasons. And so, none of those things are truly dangerous. And it's our job to teach our brain that I can handle those emotions. How do we do it? By actually feeling them. By giving ourselves permission to be a normal human being. We don't have to sweep it under the rug, and we don't have to explode on those around us. The middle ground is feeling them privately in your head, your heart, your home, your car, your bathroom, wherever. So hopefully you found some value in this. I think this is a long video. Sorry guys, I've been rambling a lot. Love you. Hope you enjoyed your Saturday yesterday. Enjoy your Sunday today. I guess I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Love you.